For more on that failed rescue attempt in Yemen and the Israeli airstrikes in Syria, I spoke to PJ Crowley. He's a fellow at the George Washington University Institute for Public Diplomacy and Global Communication.
Well, the United States policy is not to negotiate and not to pay ransom for American hostages. I happen to think that's the right policy. Groups like the Islamic State, this is big business to them, and when they're able to negotiate the release of hostages, for millions and millions of dollars, it just perpetuates, the danger for those, foreigners, Westerners who are, operating in the region. The United States believed that, its hostage was in danger. In fact, there had been statements from AQAP that he would be killed, and it took an appropriate action. Unfortunately, it didn't work out as we would have hoped.
Let's talk about the Israeli airstrikes in Syria. Clearly not the first time the Israelis have launched airstrikes in Syria. No clear confirmation or denial from the Israelis, which is also standard operating procedure. Do you expect Syrians, with all the stuff they have going on, to retaliate for this?
I don't expect Syria, to retaliate. These kinds of interdictions by Israel have happened in the past, and Syria tends to say more than they actually do. But it highlights the dilemma of the Syrian crisis. It's not one war; it's several wars that overlap. You have, the Islamic State in Syria and the Islamic State in Iraq. And obviously, you have the United States engaged in Iraq, and you have Iran engaged in Iraq. Syria is a contest between Saudi Arabia and Iran for preeminence in the region. But underneath it all, there's still the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah. And in this particular case, where Israel saw a major weapons movement to Hezbollah, even though in this particular case, Hezbollah's focus is primarily on the Islamic State. Nonetheless, Israel, for its own security, is always concerned when it sees Hezbollah getting stronger and getting more capable in terms of its weapons.
Again, part of my conversation with PJ Crowley.